Casey Lockyer again. And now we're going all the way to the west coast of the United States. I've got somebody from the Pacific Northwest we're going to be talking to today, and his name is Peter Kogler. Did I pronounce your last name right, Kogler?
Yes, it's one of the versions. It's the German version.
It's a German version.
Yeah, we're immigrants, and it kind of got anglicized along the way and became Kogler.
Kogler.
But originally it's Kogler. So,
well, there you go. Well, I want to make sure we do it the original, the old country Kogler. Yeah. And so, and so you own a company called
Capital Cleaning.
And what city are you guys in?
We're in Seattle, Washington.
Seattle, Washington. And so it's a very, very wet, very moist, very mossy environment you guys have up there.
Yes, especially in the winter months.
Especially in the winter months, yeah. Which is what you're getting ready to go into here shortly.
Yeah. There's a lot of trees too, big leaf trees here, a lot of shade. It's a very green city, a lot of trees.
A lot of trees.
So yeah, it's definitely a haven for moss and algae. And
so you've got a wife, her name's Linda, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so tell us about you and Linda and y'all's life, and give us the, as I always say, the non-soft washy biographical information on who you guys are and what your life is about, what you guys enjoy doing.
Yeah, well, I was born in Austria. My parents came over after the war, looking for a new beginning. I grew up in Canada, which is where I met my wife originally. We were kind of teenage lovers, I guess. Then I moved to the West Coast. I was a troubled teenager at the time.
Okay.
And, I was looking for answers, and I happened upon a book called The Primal Scream. So I came out to Seattle. I was a practitioner there. I went through primal therapy for a number of years, which is how I ended up in Seattle from Canada. And to support myself, I started a window cleaning business, basically going on foot at that time.
Right.
To storefronts and gradually building up a clientele. And I've stayed in that business generally my whole life. It's just built on. It went from street work to residential, and then I started hiring, and I had a crew, and got into gutter cleaning, roof cleaning, and then it all just progressed, a natural step at a time. Now, meanwhile, so when I came out, Linda and I lost track. I actually married when I was here in Seattle. I have 2 great kids from that marriage and 4 grandkids. And but unfortunately, that marriage broke up after about 10 years, which was pretty rough on me. But
devastating, yeah.
I was able to get the silver lining out of it. And but meanwhile, through that whole process, I kept working my business, and then it just so happened that Linda and I got together again, and we remarried. We married about 10 years ago. So
how did you guys re-find each other? Was she still back up in Canada at this point?
She was up in Canada. She was
okay. Up in Canada. Did you search to find her again? Did you say, man, maybe my life may have gone better if I married good old Linda? I mean, what was the story behind that?
Well, it's a little embarrassing to tell, I have to say.
I love embarrassing. This has got to be great.
Well, you see, so when we first were together, Linda got pregnant. She got pregnant. And I always assumed it was mine, but we weren't sure. Now, she's going to kill me because
what we'll do is we'll exclude the profile so she can't find the video, right?
Okay. But anyway, so, and then one day, a number of years ago, about 10 or 12 years ago, it was on Father's Day, and something moved me to where I had to find out if I had another child out there.
Yeah.
That's why I called her. I called her for that. I said, I need to know, we need to do a DNA test.
Right.
Then come to find out, no, he wasn't my son after all. But it was a time when Linda was going through a divorce. And it seemed like we were both kind of ready to have companionship
Mm-hmm.
in life. And it so happened that we were compatible again. And she was always kind of in love with me. She always had a crush on me. And she's going to kill me for saying that too. Um, she came and so she kind of pursued me a bit. I'm gonna die. But anyway, but I was ready, and she's a great gal.
She is.
Yeah, she's a great gal,
She's
and
very determined.
oh, she's strong-willed. Yeah,
Yeah, very determined and strong-willed.
yeah. Which one of the things that's driving her nuts because she really wants me to be retired so we can go into the sunset, on those
And
cruises,
travel on the cruises and everything.
travel and
Yeah.
do all that
Yeah.
because she was a teacher and a principal and accomplished, and she had been retired for a while. So she knows what that life is like, and she was very helpful in my business. She started the house cleaning part of it, and she was in there doing house cleaning until she finally decided, no, 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 no more, no mas. But so anyway, and then my goal was always to be a success in business because I wanted not only to have something for my retirement, but I also
Mm-hmm.
had to want a certain level of accomplishment.
Sure.
And so for me, I mean, I was not a natural entrepreneur. Anybody who knows me would be amazed, really, that I ended up in this chair. But the and but even though it's not natural for me, people kind of pictured me as some kind of university professor, somebody in the,
Mm-hmm.
and frankly, I think that's going to be my second career as
Mm-hmm.
a writer. But anyway, even though it didn't come naturally, I could tell that it was demanding of me. Entrepreneurship was demanding of me development of my personality.
Right.
And that is the thing that the reason I've stuck with it. And many times I've gotten to a point where any normal sane person would have quit, but um, I looked at it as something to get through, to get through, and to see what the spirit wants me to do. I
And
just
that's
live
such an
by faith.
important thing. Yeah, because you just talked about the self-development aspect is when you're an entrepreneur, you are your most important asset. You're also your biggest critic. You're also your worst competitor. You're that voice that's in the back of your mind that's telling you that you're going to fail, but you're also the voice in the back of your mind in your other ear that's telling you, come on, you can do it. And so in business, most people who are very, very successful are the ones that focus on developing themselves and pouring energy and time and education and mentorship and coaching and all those things into themselves to develop themselves, because everything that is an outflow of what your personality and your capabilities are.
Well,
Well,
I've noticed over the years as I like say I don't see someone for a year or
mm-hmm.
and I go back and I'm with them and I can tell I'm more confident in a social situation. I'm more
Sure.
calm. I'm more objective to things, so it's like I'm growing in confidence and competence. And so it's like a little check every now and then just to see how I'm doing. And I'm very pleased really with the direction of things, even though I have, very large challenges in
Mm-hmm.
business. But then I know that that's how business is.
Right.
I mean, I mean, I'm looking at it like the entrepreneur, the entrepreneurs are like the leaders of society. Sorry, this is going to stop in a sec. they're like without the entrepreneur organizing everything, training people, making it
Right.
happen. They're like the princes of the economy.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Entrepreneur. And so I don't mind taking on that mantle, even if I have to grow into it.
Well,
So
there's no real new frontiers anymore. Entrepreneurs back 500 years ago were ship's captains, and and they would
yeah,
would go and discover new lands and try to find new revenues and be able to bring bounties back to the different kingdoms of Europe, and and so there's no real explorers or anything else like that anymore. There's nothing to be done as far as that. So the last great frontier is self-development, and also to developing businesses that can create opportunities for other people.
mhm,
Yeah,
yeah,
I can totally see that. So when you already mentioned that you got into cleaning by starting window cleaning just to basically stay alive. You could walk up and down the street, you have a mop and a squeegee and a bucket, and you could knock on the door of a shop and say, "I'd like to clean your windows," and they'd pay you some money to clean your windows. It was a hustle basically, and in a positive way. You were hustling up money, and so
mhm,
that little by little grew to you
yeah.
having a business. And you've done this all your life. You are a window cleaning lifer.
Mhm.
How did you find soft wash systems then? What made you decide to do more than just windows?
Well, the progression beyond window washing was quite natural because we focused eventually primarily on the residential side. And of course, it became an easy add-on to do gutters
Sure.
and then to do roofs.
Hmm.
And so we were well established in that niche before I ever heard of soft wash.
Hmm.
But I wasn't really that pleased with the method. It had its disadvantages. We were up there with metal brushes, and it just wasn't. I mean, it's all we knew how to do. And
Right.
then I was watching YouTube, and I saw this guy all dressed in white with a floppy white hat on the roof spraying, and I won't say it was love at first sight, but it really caught my attention. And I thought, that is a better way to do it than what we're doing.
Right.
And one of the benefits of the COVID period was the payroll protection uh, uh, payments or plan or whatever, PPP.
Right. During COVID,
Which,
yes.
yeah, which suddenly made it feasible for me to make the major investment that it took to get the truck and the skid and the training and everything else. So that worked out just great. And then can I just sorry, only rings twice. Um, so that worked out great. And then I began to just get into the soft wash part of it. It's so well organized. The training is the whole business system is so well thought out that it actually became a company within a company.
So
So
you've taken this trip and you've got Linda at your side. Linda helped you start the housekeeping. So you're also running, are you still doing the housekeeping business?
yeah, that's the most automated part of our business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everyone's on a 2 or 4 week schedule. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we don't even have to do anything except do the invoicing.
Sure.
So really, she has a much better and more profitable, perhaps, an easier part of the business than I do. She did very well, and she's a little hard nosed. Um,
A little?
she is hard nosed. Yeah,
She is hard nosed, yes.
she's hard nosed.
She's
Well,
a very, very driven. You guys make a really good team because you guys cover each other in the areas you're weak, she's strong. In the areas she's weak, you're strong. Which I think is a really, really incredible testament. A lot of the way I judge when we look at people to bring them into the network and accept them as licensed affiliates of soft wash systems, I really like to get to know the wives because the wives will really tell you a story about the man. And if the wife does not complete the man, then I'm really not interested in the man. And so and the wife has to be supportive, and the wife has to have some drive. And because if you don't have a good wife at home that's encouraging to you and supporting you and loving you and be your helpmate, your partner in life, it just makes everything so much harder.
Oh, it would, yeah. And in a way, it was kind of hard for me when we were button heads
Hmm.
because she just wanted me to dump the whole thing. It's too much trouble. It's too much. You're not making any money. Just dump it and let's go off into the sunset. And
Yeah.
so we were button head. We actually, really, it was like the irresistible force against the
Immovable object.
immovable object,
Yeah.
But I think at one point she came to decide that, well, he's an old mule, and I think I'm going to stick with him. So we've kind of compromised in a way. She has a very strong heart for her family, for her kids and grandkids. She didn't want to miss the grandkids growing up.
Right.
And so the way she has a condo in Quebec, and lately she's been spending quite a bit of time there.
Hmm.
And I go up every now and then for a few days, and it seems to be working out. It's not a permanent thing, but it's a way of adjusting to each other's desires.
Right. Yeah. Because whenever you have a blended family, it's really, really difficult. She's got grandkids, you got grandkids, you get split family, children. Christmas is always a couple places, Thanksgiving's a couple places. It's hard to cover all of the bases when you have a blended family like that. And and as you get older, you get more mature, and it's like, yeah, so she's gonna go and stay in the condo for a few weeks and go visit her family. It's not gonna hurt your feelings. I mean, you miss her, but we don't get threatened by it or anything else because she's got family there. So it's not a big deal. But at the same time, well, first of all, Quebec is beautiful. It's beautiful. I love the river, love the hills there, especially, well, now we're in the first week of October, especially the end of September. Going to the first week of October is really their Thanksgiving period. And so everything's fall festival and everything's decorated up there. Love that part of the country. And so I can understand why she's there, especially right now. And it's a really nice part of the country. But the plan eventually is, because Linda's right, this is the part where she's glad she's listening to the podcast, is you do need to get to a point where you can retire and enjoy each other and go on some cruises and things like that. So, your maid service company is automated and your soft washing is still young, and you're getting that developed. You've got two really good territory managers and some people working in the business, and you're trying to get that developed out. What's the kind of plan or the future for that? What are your goals? Where are we going with this thing now?
Well, I have a plan to be a five-star company. It's a little beyond my reach right now to imagine how we're going to get a second truck.
Sure.
We're just growing organically. I don't know what to say. My territory managers are learning the skills of sales, and they're getting better at it. They're starting to bring in some nice jobs,
Hmm.
and both of them are interested in taking over the business when the old man isn't around.
Sure.
The old man may want to have some kind of residual income from it, but I'm trying to develop leadership within the company. We'll see how it goes. I can't quite, and maybe, and see, the problem with selling it is that an investor with no experience and background in soft wash may not be that familiar with how it runs.
Sure.
So to develop leadership from the inside seems, like a viable thing, but it's a picture that's coming into focus. And the problem I've always had with Linda is that I cannot predict the future. So she wants to know how long, when, what's going on. And all I can say is, well, I'm developing it. It's coming along, but I don't know the timeline.
Well,
And
it's sometimes it's taking control of the timeline and making it your slave, and just deciding, well, I can leave for a week per month. The ship's not going to crash in a week. Let's go on a cruise.
I
Let's
think
go
something
and
like
spend a
that.
week in
Yeah.
Quebec. I'll jump on a plane, and just do that 1 week per month is a good thing. I mean, it's for me, I had to decide, COVID screwed it all up for all of us, and by 2019, I was at the point where the business was running itself and everything, and I was pretty much semi-retired. And COVID happened, and I got pulled back into it and steering it and what's going to happen with COVID. And then we got really, really busy in really different ways, and other businesses started growing. But then, you start to say, okay, how do I gain some of those things back? You say, okay, Fridays. I'm 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 not going to go into the office on Friday, so I'm going to make every weekend a 3-day weekend. And then you're like, okay, Thursdays I'm gonna work from home, and then I'm going to start, let's take 1 week a month, and that's really what you got to do is you've bolted on soft washing as part of your engine. You have the maid company, you have the soft washing company, and you've got some team members that are willing to run it, and you start giving them a chance. And the trial run is 1 week a month.
That's
And,
right.
that can be a really, really good thing. Because because
Yeah, I
Linda's
follow
right.
you.
How old are you now?
70, yeah, 76. I just
So
had a birthday. I just
yeah.
had a birthday on the 23rd.
So you're 76. Yep. Happy birthday. My birthday was on the 26th. So you're a September baby like me.
Oh, yeah.
And at 76, most people would be retired. But you're trying to build something that you can be proud of because you're trying to accomplish something. And that's good. But also too, you're building a lifestyle business. So you have to start dreaming about, what do you want to do? I think Linda's doing enough dreaming for both of you guys, though.
At least um, for the retirement part of it. Yeah.
But yeah,
But
yeah,
that can get old too. I'll always have to be, involved with something,
sure.
you know.
Well, you
Uh,
mentioned writing. Tell us a little more about that, because I think that's something you and I share.
oh yeah, well yeah, I know you've heard of it. I wrote a book. I haven't.
Yeah.
It's I published it through Lulu, which is kind of a do-it-yourselfer, and I also have another publisher who is going to make a hard copy out of it, another hard copy, and we'll get it out on Amazon and all that. So yeah, and I really enjoyed doing that. It's been a long time coming.
So you
And
just you held the cover up. Okay, hold the cover up again for people,
okay,
because there's a story here. Okay, we need Jesus. All right. So there's a story here. We just talked about the troubled youth. Okay, that has had two marriages. That 12 years ago said, "Well, I got to have a DNA test done because I got to figure out, do I got another kid?" And that's how he got back into Linda's life. So obviously you're kind of a timid guy, but you kind of had a way with the ladies, apparently, And so you've had some ladies in your life, at least two that we know of. And you're from Seattle, so you did the whole primal scream thing. It was a primal scream therapist and everything else. How did you get to Jesus? Because I think, even though this is building a lifestyle business podcast, we've had some really cool spiritual conversations on here with other people. How did you
oh
get
yeah.
to Jesus?
Well, through searching, through being
Mm-hmm.
a seeker. When I was in college, I have a BA in psychology, and I've been interested in psychology all my life. And because I wanted to understand things and have a just more full life than I was experiencing. When I went to college, I was really in kind of a crisis mode because all these kids from Montreal would come in and they just seemed to be on another level of living, whereas I was more constrained and so on. That was painful
Sure.
for me emotionally. And I did my best to come out of, the limited self that I had. And I had successes, I had failures. Eventually, I went to the primal therapy because I felt I just couldn't do it myself anymore.
Hmm.
But primal therapy wasn't the answer either, you know. But there was an offhand comment by the therapist, one of the therapists, because I was an atheist at the time, you know, and she said, and in the session, I said, well, and of course, there's no God. Everybody knows that. And she just kind of looked at me quizzically and she said, there isn't. She didn't have to argue with me. She didn't have to do anything. She just asked me a
Just took
question.
that seed and went, bloop.
Yeah. And then, like,
Yeah,
I was thinking, because they were like on a pedestal for me.
right,
And then I got into the Amway business, and there are a lot of Christians in Amway. And
right.
suddenly they were giving their testimony, and I was admiring them. And I was thinking, they're Christians. And then I think the thing that really kind of started to reel me in was there was a guy on the radio by the name of Roy Masters who gave, he had a radio talk show and people would call in to talk about their problems, but he talked about, he walked them through it on Christian principles,
Hmm.
mostly forgiveness. Forgiveness was the big thing, giving up resentment.
Right.
And being interested in psychology all my life, that was something that really caught my attention. All right. And then the divorce from my first wife really threw me on the need for some kind of guidance.
Mm.
And that's when I really became seriously a Christian. And and then it's just deepened since then. And more I'm seeing myself as just the parable of the talents of we're just here for a short time, and I'm here. It's my mission to honor the Lord through my work and my
Right.
relationships and everything else, and honor Him. And the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, of course, is capable of anything. So I'm always asking myself, what would the Spirit do? Is the Spirit coming forward through me?
Are you in
And
tune with the spirit?
yeah, and then suddenly I really want to succeed because I want to be a testimony. So that's been, and then my walk has become more and more integrated. Everything's starting to become more and more meaningful within my Christian walk. So, and the other thing is too that I want to be an example,
Hmm.
an an influencer for good. And for my grandkids, even my kids are watching me, because they've seen
Right.
me struggle. I used to be like the family joke, you know, struggling and never getting anywhere, and poor dad. And but my daughter's always been the one who's always been on my side. She's been really a sweetheart for me, but always a daddy's girl too, even from young. But no, I just want to be a testimony now, a
Hmm.
testimony to the Spirit. And I know from my own experience with people that the ones who are successful, those are the ones I'm gonna listen to.
Hmm.
I don't really care that much about the theories and theorizing of people who haven't gotten anywhere. That's all fine and they may be right,
Right. Right.
but the spirit of them is not going to elevate me, you
Right.
know. So that's basically where I'm at right now.
Cool. Cool. And it
How
has
about
a
you?
lot to do with business. Has a lot to do with business
Oh,
because
absolutely.
in American society, we compartmentalize things. We go family is family, church is church, business is business, and it's not. It's all in the same bowl of goulash. You should treat people the same way in business than you would a family member or you would somebody at church. and you should do the same types of business dealings, same types of personal dealings. You shouldn't lie about people. You shouldn't gossip. It's all the same. You should your level of performance. We don't perform to earn our way to heaven. We can't earn our way to heaven. We're flawed. Only the blood of Christ covers us and gets us to heaven. But
Mhm.
out of gratitude, we want to use our talents every day. We want to do our best. We want to
Yeah.
be a good example. We want to show people that you can operate a clean business, that you're not cheating or taking advantage of people or stealing or anything else like that. And
Mhm.
so it's our responsibility to take the talents that God's given us and and show people you can be a Christian and be a business person and make a lot of money and do very, very well without cheating people. It's not
It's a blessing that the system has developed as it has by Christians,
right.
you know, to, yeah, so there's all that. The other thing too is that as your spirit develops, it's like an unfolding, and you
Mm-hmm.
never really quite know what the next blessing is going to be, but you're faithful in the little, and
And you have to be open to those,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because blessings can pass you by if you're not in tune with the spirit. You're not open to what could be the next blessing, because we decide where we want to go and we put blinders on, but you have to be open to it because the next opportunity may not be what you're expecting.
Well, I need to be faithful to what I have and see what comes next.
That's right. That's
But
right.
no, I'm satisfied with life. I used to be in terrible emotional pain inside, private.
Mm.
Nobody knew. I was for a long time. I was just kind of walled in. Could not, communicate what was really going on with Peter down there,
Mm-hmm.
little Peter.
Deep end, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I've found a way now, and so I'm happy about that. And I set the clock at 8 o'clock every night when it rings, no matter what I'm doing. I go downstairs, set the timer for an hour, and I spend an hour of meditation and prayer.
Mm.
And during that time, I review the day and just it's mostly quiet time.
Mm-hmm.
But I get I get little nuggets from the spirit, little bits of understanding and little bits of insight, and it's a time to express gratitude and so on. So that in itself has been a very helpful thing, for my soul. And sometime I about a week ago I failed. I went and watched the Sounder soccer game after, even though it was 8 o'clock. But the next day I did not. I felt like, I'd lost a bit of
You just fell off.
momentum here. Yeah,
Yeah.
I lost a little momentum. I didn't put Jesus first. I put the game on. So I learned my lesson yesterday. The game was on. They always have it on at 7:30 at night. Uh, that I turned, that I,
Well, the good thing is nowadays you can have pause on the game, go have your quiet time, and then go back and finish the game.
well, anyway,
Just don't let anybody slip and tell you the score, right?
well, I love soccer. That's the other thing I haven't mentioned yet. I still play soccer twice a week.
Oh wow, really? That's
I need
great.
it for running,
Yeah.
for exercise. And so I enjoy that. And it's primarily my exercise, except for my morning routine
Yeah.
when I get out of bed. I'm trying to be more and more disciplined, and especially, and I was listening to Jim Rohn the other day, and that also gave me a bit of a boost. Where he says you got to force yourself to do things,
Mm-hmm. That's right.
especially when you have something you need to do, and you go, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to, or maybe I'll do it later. And you have to force yourself through that. And what I found was that if you do, you're actually happier on the other end of it.
You do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was a lesson to be
Oh,
learned. So now
a
I'm,
lot of people don't know about me too. Is there are days because everybody sees me. I'm good at business, building things, right? Fish, do all the things that I do, and I've done very, very well in my life. So they're like, man, AC is just a, freak of nature, just just go, 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 take over the world and everything else. And there are days that I wake up, especially Monday mornings. I wake up and I'm just like, oh, I just don't want to do this. I just don't want to go to work. And you're like, is it Monday again? Really? And you
mhm,
force yourself to get out of bed, you jump in the shower, you put your clothes on, you eat some breakfast, you drive down the road, you get to the shop, you walk in the door, and you start moving and getting yourself going. And before you know it, you're like, man, it's a good day. I'm glad I'm here. Uh, Good things are happening. I'm
yeah,
engaged. I'm excited because we just sometimes it just the darkness kind of creeps in, on everybody. You get tired, you get discouraged, you get wore out, you get burnt out, and just getting started. It's every motor has a capacitor, and that
yeah,
capacitor fires the motor to get it spinning. And once it gets spinning, it does okay. But getting started, it needs that little extra boost. So that capacitor charges up. So when you hit that switch, it gives it just a little more juice to get that motor spinning. And it
mhm,
is a rule of nature that we all got to, when we wake up in the morning or when the tough stuff comes, you got to just do it and push through it. And once you get some momentum behind you, everything else goes easier.
mhm. Yeah, I've learned a lot from I don't want to really call it self-help, but
Sure.
from the business success and all that. It's been, and of course, all the success principles are really based on the Bible,
Yeah.
although they're not very often attributed, you know. But um, the thing is that if you have a goal, and see, I'm just, incorporating all these ideas into my life step at a time. But if you have a goal, you have made a commitment to yourself. And if you don't pursue that, you feel terrible,
That's right.
you know, and that,
And nobody else could know because you may not have told
no,
anybody
it's
else the goal,
exactly,
but
it's a very, yeah, yeah. So, so I know that that extra half hour in bed or whatever, may be at the time kind of comfortable and whatever, and you skip the routines and whatever, but you pay the price.
Hmm.
You do pay the price. So, and this is what I'm learning too. So more and more, I really feel like, hey, I don't really have a choice with this because either I'm going to succeed or I'm going to be totally depressed and suicidal. So which is it going to be? So, it's just come to that. There's no more choice involved. You gotta see it through.
Yes, you do.
That's how it is.
Well, so what would you tell people, especially people that are going to go through these podcasts, they're going to look at the pictures, they're going to see a guy in his 70s, and it might be another guy in his 70s looking at doing a business or maybe getting a business for his family to work on or whatever. They're going to see your picture and somebody's going to relate to you and your story and the decision that you made about soft wash systems. What would you say to them? How would you encourage them?
Well, I would say that it's a great vehicle. It's a service that is first rate, but it's not easy, and it depends how much they need to learn. It depends where
Mhm.
they are on the learning curve. They have to be able to put up with a lot of stress, especially if they're not really up to speed in the entrepreneurial world.
Right.
Uh, but it is worth it. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I would say, yeah, definitely go for it because it is going to make your life more meaningful and your legacy more meaningful. and you'll be a better person for it. Now, you may or may not get rich from it. That if that is your only way of measuring it, you'll probably quit
That's right.
because it's not overnight. It doesn't happen overnight.
And there's more to it than that.
Yes. So I would say, congratulations for having ambition, but you must set that goal in front of you and just say, no matter what, because it's going to surprise you how hard it is. You won't be expecting it. And but that's only because you're ignorant of the entrepreneurial life. But you'll learn, and then you'll be among the fraternity of the entrepreneur, and
there you go.
It's well worth it. Yeah,
it is well worth it. So if you want to become part of the fraternity of the entrepreneur, as Peter said here, you may want to consider getting into soft washing with soft wash systems. But listen, whether it's soft washing with soft wash systems or landscaping, gardening, carpet cleaning, carpentry, roofing, plumbing, HVAC, whatever business you decide to start, you're building it to create a lifestyle for yourself to help you achieve your life's goals and dreams. Your business is just the engine to propel your lifestyle. So it's not always easy, like Peter just said. You have to have tenacity, but it might be for you so that you can have your own lifestyle business. Hey, Peter, thanks for joining us this week. Appreciate you. Mm-hmm. All right, great. So guys, if you like this podcast, go ahead and hit like down here, share it on your social media, and also go ahead and subscribe so we can let you know when the next great Building a Lifestyle Business podcast comes out. As always, guys, this is AC Locke here. Go forth and prosper, and I'll see you on the next podcast.